Khorne here, and today I will be sharing with you the best spellcasting setup for Kairos Fateweaver. After the 6.1 update, Kairos has gotten the ability to cast spells from 9 different lores of magic, which he can freely swap out before every battle. This, at least for me, makes him a lot more fun to play with on both the battlefield and the campaign map. Customizing his spell selection helps out a lot in various situations, especially early on when the Lore of Tzeentch spells aren't really gonna be the best option. He starts the campaign having 2 spell slots unlocked that allow you to swap between the spells of the corresponding spell tier for each of the 9 lores of magic you have available. You unlock a new spell slot every 5th level Kairos gets, so at rank 20 you will have unlocked all of his spell slots, and once you have, this is usually the spell selection I go for. Earthblood to heal your single entities, as just because you have barrier doesn't mean you're immune to taking damage, so healing is always a good option to have. Fire of Tzeentch, as I think this is the only spell in this spell selection that will always be useful, but if you want, you can swap it out for a buff spell instead. Amber Spear, surprisingly a decent option when it comes to killing single entities. Net of Ammontok, there to stop the enemy from moving and either kill them with your range units, spells, or your army ability. Purple Sun, as I think it is a really good spell when it comes to killing any kind of infantry units, but going with the Tzeentch Vortex spell isn't a bad option either. And finally, Final Transmutation, which in combination with the Amber Spear will completely annihilate any single entity on the battlefield. Now, I have found this combination to be absolutely amazing, as this is almost perfect for every situation and is a lot of fun to use. One thing to note though is that you can always make some adjustments to it depending on what you need in a battle. So for example, if there aren't a lot of single entities to kill, but instead there is a lot of trashy infantry, you might want to swap Final Transmutation to Firestorm, which will do a much better job in that situation. Now, there is a bit more you can do with Kairos to make his spellcasting even better, and it has to do with increasing your spell intensity and giving him infinite winds of magic. Namely, Kairos can increase the intensity of his spells with his skills by giving himself 20% spell intensity and providing mastery of the elemental winds to Iridescent Horrors, Cultist Tzeentch, and Lords of Change, each increasing spell intensity by another 15%. This means that if you have just 5 of these units in Kairos' army, you can reach the maximum spell intensity of 200% and basically double the effects of your spells. You can also reach 200% intensity with just 3 of these units if you have a Cultist Tzeentch on a War Shrine of Tzeentch. This is because the War Shrine has a passive that gives you another 30% spell mastery, and it gives you Winds of Magic reserves every second. Combine this with the fact that Kairos has access to the Lore of Death passive, which gives you even more Winds reserves every time he casts, means that you will basically have unlimited Winds of Magic. Kairos can also reduce the cost of his spells by 25%, and if you manage to get Yunbo's Defeat trait, you will lower your spell cost by 45%, which will make it so you can go about casting your spells, never having to worry about running out of magic. Lastly, just a tip on how you can easily charge your Chaos War Shrine of Tzeentch passive. If you summon a unit close to the War Shrine, once the unit expires and dies, it will start charging up the War Shrine's passive, without it ever having to go into combat. That is all I had to share with you for this one. If you enjoyed and would like to watch more of these, don't forget to subscribe for future content. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.
Khorne fights as one.